Mission 6, Lesson 8. Here we are, where our student objective is to use understanding of fraction equivalence to investigate decimal numbers on the place value chart expressed in different units. All right, what that means is if they give you a decimal number, if we're given a decimal number, we want to be able to rename that in a different unit form. So we want to be, if we had, for instance, 2 and 7/10, we want to be able to say, well, how many total tenths would that be if we put it all together? So I'm going to model this as we work through the tower today so you can really understand what it is that is being asked of us. Our first step asks us to show 39 hundredths. So we're just going to shade 39 hundredths. So I know that's 10, 20, 30, and then 9 little ones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that should be 39. Oop. Now we're going to complete the number bond, pulling out tenths from the hundredths. So in 39 hundredths, I'm looking for how many tenths I have. And then we're also looking for how many hundredths I have. Well, I'm just going to look at this first spot here. I have actually 3 tenths and then 9 hundredths. So 3 tenths and 9 hundredths. And now I want to write the total as an equivalent decimal. So I'm just going to write 39 hundredths as a decimal. How many whole numbers do I have? I have 0 wholes. Then I'm going to put my decimal, 39 hundredths, just like such. Man, this tower's bossy. It tells me what to do. Keep climbing, it says to me. All right, now it's going to say 1, 1 right here, and 2 tenths equals how many tenths? Now, it is not asking just how many tenths we have right now. It is saying if we renamed that 1 into tenths form and then put them together, how many would we have? Well, remember, just like with anything on the place value, if we were to unbundle that 1, 1, that becomes 10 tenths because we're going down the scale. So it takes 10 tenths to equal 1, 1. So what I'm going to say is that is actually 10 tenths in and of itself, plus the 2 I have. So I have 12 tenths. So really, I'm just saying, hey, it's not 1, 1 and 2 tenths. I'm going to say that that's also the same as 12 tenths. And now it's going to ask me how many hundredths are equivalent to 2 tenths. So if I have 2 tenths, how many hundredths is that? Well, I have 2 here, and I can just replace that blank hundredth spot with a 0. Because again, if I unbundled these and brought it back down, that would be 10, and that would be 20. So that would be 20 hundredths. And that's equal to 2 tenths. It's just another way of saying it. Bossing me around still. Now we are asked how many tenths and hundredths are represented in the area model. First, we want to know which decimal is represented by the area model. So you can see here that we have this area model. We have 1 whole, we have 2 wholes, and then we have this one, which is divided up into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's divided up into tenths. And how many of those tenths are shaded? 3. 1, 2, 3. 3 tenths are shaded. So I'm looking for 2 wholes and 3 tenths. And which of these is 2 wholes and 3 tenths? Is it A, B, or C? It's A! It's A! That's right, it is A, because we have 2 wholes and then 3 tenths. Now it's going to ask us, hey, how many tenths are actually in 2 and 3 tenths? And again, it's not just asking for, hey, it doesn't want us to just say 3 tenths. It wants us to say, if we turn these all into tenths, how many tenths would we have? Well, just imagine my whole numbers, if I just split those back up into tenths and realize that that would be 10 tenths right there. Because if I split this, into tenths, well, that's 10 out of 10 are shaded. So let's imagine that's 10. This is 20. And then 1, 2, 3. 23. So 2 and 3 tenths is the same as saying 23 tenths. Now how many hundredths? How many hundredths are in 2 and 3 tenths? So I'm going to do what I just did, but now I'm imagining I'm splitting them into hundredths. So the one whole would be split into hundredths. It would be 100 hundredths. So that would be 100 hundredths. This would be 200 hundredths. And this would be, let's see, if I had 3 tenths, and I split it up into hundredths, that's going to be 30 100ths. So I have 100, 200, and 30. So I have 230 hundredths. Boop. Nice. Okay, now we have to do it without a picture. If I have 2 and 2 tenths, and I wanted to rename them all as tenths, how many would I have? Well, remember, for each whole number I have, which is 2 wholes, that's 10 tenths. So in this case, I have 1 2 wholes, that's 1 tenth, that's 2 tenths, so 10, 20, and then the 2 I have left over. So that's 20, this whole number, and then the 2 I have left over. So that's 22 tenths. Notice I'm just taking the decimal out right there. Boom. 22 tenths. All right. Now I want to rename 3 and 8 tenths as hundredths. So how many hundredths would I have here? Okay. I would have, so 3 wholes, but now I want to rename those wholes as hundredths. So that would be, if I have 3, that's 100, 1 hundredths, 200 hundredths, 300 hundredths, and then, so I have 300 hundredths, but I also have this 8 tenths, which I have to convert. So 8 tenths becomes how many? It becomes 80 hundredths. So 3 tenths, 80 hundredths, right? So altogether 380 hundredths, just like that. I think I said it wrong here just a second ago, but it's 380 hundredths. And that's what you're doing today. You're just seeing how you can rename decimals and give them different names, and they're still equal to each other. Just like fractions, we found there are different fractions that are equivalent to each other just by renaming them different things. Decimals are the same way. We can rename different numbers in decimals and have them mean the same thing. So don't let yourself get too confused over this. Just keep it simple, keep your mind clear, and you should be good to go. Good luck.